Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Elizibar, and if you've been following these reviews, man, you might know I kind of gave the actual Roger, I think it was issue 2, like a rough time. I felt the book was just kind of straight up mean spirited. And while some of that is still, I kind of feel some of that with where it is now, it's a little different. It's a little different. Everything's just kind of whacked out, but I really like these first couple pages with Roger talking to Magnanimo's former sidekick. And he actually does, and it's kind of accidental, something kind of heroic. I was really surprised. Like, he's doing this for the wrong reason, but he's totally not given Dork Boy with the finger that breaks everything. I forget what he calls himself now. It's like the finger of destiny or something goofy. But he's not giving him Magnanimo's magnet thingamajig, the collar that keeps Magnanimo grounded. All it does is hold Mo down and open doors. Opens doors. The kid's got some ideas, and from here we go on a journey. He goes through the laboratory. People are trying to call Magnanimo because there's a problem with like a space shuttle or something. Kid goes out there to Child Protective Services. I forget what her name is now. All of a sudden, that I'm sitting here looking at this, she's asleep, man. And two of my favorite panels in this book are on this two-page spread. One is this panel of her sleeping. That looks terribly uncomfortable, but she's totally at rest because she's asleep. When you're asleep, you don't really care how comfortable something is after you've fallen asleep. She also looks, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I'm looking at that and I'm like seeing Linda Hamilton, like Terminator 1, the first movie, right there, 1984 or 85, whenever that came out. That's what I see there. And I thought that was great. And then this look of when she's waking up, I'm pretty sure I have made that exact face before, like, what? Just that characterization of her face, that uh, careful study of emotion, of the way people look when they're relaxed versus when they're first waking up. I really like that in the art right here. So Roger, he runs outside. Dork Boy, run into child protection. I see. Yeah, wouldn't you? Like, if you're the kid, wouldn't you be running to somewhere safe? Anyway, Magnanimo is totally floating away. He's in outer space. He can't breathe. And he ends up saving the day in kind of a comical bit. I got to show you that. And I'm going to stop showing you stuff here in a minute. As soon as I find that Magnanimo panel I want to show off. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Anyway, his parents were totally kidnapped. It's great. That's why Roger's going home. You know, his friend was like, your parents were kidnapped. And so he's trying to go say, oh yeah, here it is. I guess this is what I wanted to show. Like, there's Magnanimo's head in the space shuttle because he just saved them all. That's pretty funny. Accidentally saving everybody. That reminds me of like some Don Knotts stuff, man. That feels like a Don Knotts movie. The jokes in this were a lot less at Roger's expense than some of the earlier ones. There's still, of course, that's the actual Roger type stuff, which is fine because that's like a running gag. It just keeps happening in the book. Magnanimo gets picked on a lot in here because you get to know a lot more about Magnanimo. You learn more about the villain. You meet this guy. I'm not going to tell you anything about him. Roger goes home and meets his friend Clay, who's Clay. You know what I'm saying? It was fun. It was fun. I think this series has gotten a lot better as it's gone on, or maybe it's just because I'm starting to see the pieces and the themes of it start clicking together. I think there's only one more issue past this one, but hopefully it'll wrap everything up because it's spooled out a whole lot of threads, and I'm hoping this last issue is going to kind of collect them together into something that's more cohesive because we've got Roger, we've got Clay doing his thing, we've got this villain we just introduced, we've got Magnanimo's former sidekick, we've got Magnanimo, we've got the government, and everybody has their pieces to play, and it feels kind of like a TV show where you got all these disparate threads, and then they all just start merging together. That's how it should be. That's how any story should be. I don't know why I specifically said, like a TV show where that's the case. But, I was just thinking kind of like, God, that's a terrible comparison, but kind of like the way Babylon 5 rolled, where you're introducing thing, and then 3 seasons later, boom, that thing is relevant and it ties into what's going on now, and you see the payoff. And I'm starting to see some payoff, and I'm hoping in issue 5 will have a lot of payoff. Still, I'm saying this was pretty good. I wouldn't say this was like great, but I got a couple chuckles along the way, and that's good. I like the art on a lot of the pages, especially the attention to detail in the faces, and that was fantastic. I think the coloring is kind of a weaker part of this book. It looks way better on this glossy over here than on the newsprint. I don't know if it's the same coloring technique by the colorist, but when it's printed on the glossy, it looks a lot better. I think, and who did the coloring? I guess Hank Tucker did the coloring himself. When this gets collected on in like a trade or something, I think it's going to look really fantastic. First, just looking pretty good like it does over here. The colors just feel kind of weak, in my opinion. And maybe I'm not being fair because, when I'm thinking of like colors on newsprint from Alterna, man, it's so hard to look at something like Eden or Feast or Famine or Exilium, where the colors are like popping off the page, especially Feast or Famine. That's like doing drugs and looking at a comic book. This is more muted. This is more subtle, and I don't think it pops as much on newsprint as it could. Anyway, check this out. I will see you all next time. You have a great day. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'd love to hear what you think if you read this. I've tried not to give too much away about what's going on, but I probably did anyway. Sorry. Bye bye, everybody.